What? What? Hello, I'm Mr. Dithers, Vice President in charge of hiring for Batman Incorporated. When Batman decided to incorporate, I was skeptical. But then, he reveals Bruce Wayne is helping with his finances, and I'm thinking, yes, because Bruce Wayne is a sharp cookie. He knows how to make money. So we franchise, and now Batmen are everywhere. Not just crime fighting, but security guards, daycare. We do wonderful daycare. Custodians. But we don't do windows. You want somebody to do those windows, get one of your Spider-Men, because they can do the high places, but, you know, a guy could get killed. So come and join the exciting world of Batman Inc. You get a cool mask. They'll place you in the field where you're most comfortable. And, by the way, this rumor that Bruce Wayne is Batman, don't make me laugh. Phooey. He's a playboy. He's more interested in having a good time with some supermodels than trying to fight crime. I mean, come on. Think about it. So join Batman Inc. You can do voice. Oh, and if you don't have a 401k, it's a 6-day work week, and you might be fired and replaced by a young ward after getting shot by a backwards time bullet. But other than that, it's a job, all right. So what, is that the rap? They don't tell you nothing around here.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Comic Book Issues. I'm your host, the Last Angry Geek. You know, it's not easy being Batman. If you're not dealing with your acute case of survivor's guilt, then you've got to deal with a bunch of madmen who want to carve you up like a Thanksgiving Day turkey. And then sometimes something bad can happen. Like a great writer can take over your comic book and suddenly your modern day continuity gets more complicated than Chinese algebra. Like for instance, all of a sudden you're finding a bunch of weirdos nobody's ever heard of. You seemingly die in a helicopter explosion, but really you die when you get shot by a backwards time bullet fired by a mad god. You move forward in time not realizing you've become a doomsday device. You get back to the present without dooming the Earth, only to find your ex-sidekick has replaced you, and not only that, he's dragging your illegitimate son into situations with a higher mortality rate than most suicide missions. But while Grant Morrison has Damian and Dick over in Batman and Robin, Grant's returned Bruce Wayne to the forefront of the DC Universe in Batman Incorporated. And Batman's become so successful, Bruce Wayne takes the next logical step: franchising. And it's here we begin Batman Incorporated issues 1 and 2. Having returned to the present DC universe, Bruce Wayne has declared himself Batman's backer and decided to set up crime fighters in different countries. Issue 1 opens with a Zorro-esque vigilante named Mr. Unknown waking up to find his hands burned off with acid, thanks to Mighty Lord Deathman. Mighty Lord Deathman. Huh. One thing you should know about Grant Morrison, I'm pretty sure he names his characters by throwing darts at a newspaper. Whatever words he hits, he uses. Meanwhile, on the streets of what I assume to be Japan, as Mr. Morrison doesn't provide you with those little boxes that tell you location, thank you very much, Grant, a young man enters a toy store looking for Mr. Unknown, only to find him dead and his secret base being trashed by the goons of Mighty Lord Deathman. He fights his way out as Mighty Lord Deathman, who I'll just be calling Deathman for the sake of expediency, declares kill all Japanese crime fighters. Although, given they're in Japan, how many non-Japanese crime fighters can there be? We then cut to a giant robot as Batman and Catwoman swing by and... Okay, wait a minute. Who swings down a rope head first? I mean, who taught her to use a rope? The incredible upside-down guy? Turns out they ran into each other as they busted into Dr. Sivana's lab. The Captain Marvel villain has invented something Batman doesn't want getting around, but someone's beating them here, as a pair of burglars try and break into Project X. No! Matthew Broderick's film career must be locked away for all time! Anyway, the robbers get taken out by an invisible robot. Batman takes on the robot as Selina opens the vault. You know, if you're going to be a burglar, you might want to wear a mask, because I'm... Enough! Enough! Every show I try and do my narration, and you keep interrupting me with your lame jokes. I want to finish my recap, if you don't mind. Sorry, jeez. Go ahead.
Thank you. God, where was I? Oh yes, Selina breaks into the vault, disabling the rat robots, retrieves Project X, apparently a large diamond, just as a supersized robot rat rises up behind her. We don't find out how the fight ends, as we cut to Bruce and Selina, under the guise of an heiress, arriving in Japan. They stay at a suite following what Bruce describes as the giant robot mouse incident, and have a sexy workout session involving thigh-high leather boots and free weights. Bruce is here to recruit and train the Japanese Batman, none other than Mr. Unknown. Finding his secret headquarters a wreck from the earlier attack, Batman discovers Unknown's corpse, and the duo are ambushed by Deathman's henchmen. Batman knows they weren't expected and threatens a little buzzsaw plastic surgery to get the goon to admit they were waiting for the kid from earlier, who they call the body double. Back at his apartment, the kid, known as Hiro, goes to meet his girlfriend, Misaki. He's cautious, so he pulls a gun and finds Deathman holding her hostage. A desperate Hiro shoots, knocking Deathman out of the window, but Misaki reveals he was the only one who could disarm this death trap. As Bat and Cat arrive, she's dropped into a pool of water as Selina dives in after her, only for both women to be attacked by a giant squid.
I could make a joke about how they'd run to anyone in Tokyo, but I wouldn't want to interrupt your precious recap.
Fine. Issue 2 opens with Hiro questioning the sheer ridiculousness of all this, as Batman breaks open the windows below with some exploding batarangs, draining the water and saving the girls' lives. Misaki dumps Hiro for not telling her that he was a crime fighter and putting her life in danger. Batman then explains he's met Mighty Lord Deathman as just plain Deathman years ago. He'd stop his heart with yoga, but Bruce concedes that he's probably taken it further since then. Batman takes the acid called Royal Water as a clue that Deathman is after some aquatic jewels. Hiro explains that Mr. Unknown was 56. He handled the detective work, but Hiro put on the outfit and did the crime fighting. Hiro asks to join Batman Incorporated, but Batman turns him down because he used a gun earlier. Hiro remains determined to avenge his mentor. As doctors autopsy Deathman's corpse, he comes back to life and murders them. His henchmen bring him clothes and weapons as he cuts bullets out of his chest. Lord Deathman takes a page out of the Joker's book and blows up a hospital bus and commits vehicular manslaughter. Deathman, Catwoman, and Batman, and Hiro, assuming the Mr. Unknown identity, all head for the museum containing the water jewels. Deathman crashes onto a monorail as Bruce attacks. Hiro swings in, saving the green-haired superheroine hosting the event as Deathman's car crashes into the museum. As Deathman's cape catches fire, Hiro disarms him with a trio of darts to the face. Batman throws his burning body off another building. Catwoman then tosses Deathman into a safe as Mr. Unknown bleeds out from bullet wounds. Of course, it's all a ruse, and Bruce swears Hiro in as Japan's Batman. Selina gets ready to leave, and Bruce shares that the immortal Deathman is now orbiting the moon in a Japanese space capsule. He also reveals that he knew she really came to steal the jewels at the museum, but she's going home with nothing, as the jewels liquefied outside of their deep water pressure containment. Bruce has a good laugh as Hiro, now dressed as Batman, fights a giant monkey.
All done, are we? Time for me to start my review. Well, you won't get word one until you apologize.
Fine, I'm sorry I yelled at you.
Really, are you sorry you called my jokes lame?
Well, no, they are lame, but I have realized that without you, I ain't got no body.
Oh, sexy narrator voice, I can't stay mad at you. So, Batman Inc. issues 1 and 2. This is a wild ride. Grant Morrison, what meds are you mixing? But seriously, where does this story fail and where does it succeed? Where does it confuse the hell out of all of us?
Let's start with something easy, the art. I do like Yannick Paquette's art for the most part. His action scenes look authentic, and the high-tech stuff like the super vaults and the various robots are all suitably impressive. His style of drawing is somewhere between Kevin Nolan's and Terry Dodson's. My only real complaint goes back to that shot of Selina. Nobody has ever gone down a rope headfirst outside the Cirque du Soleil. It feels like it was just an obvious excuse for a cleavage shot. Also praiseworthy is the cover artist J.H. Williams. His cover for issue number 1 basically covers everything you need to know. Batman's in the book and it's going to have a global theme. Issue 2 is a nice shot of the supporting characters in this arc, overlaid with the colors of the Japanese flag.
Now on to the much more problematic issue of story. For the most part, I like this story. It's a fun ride, but it's like a special effects movie. Once it's over and you've stopped marveling at all the bangs and pops, you start to look at the story and it kind of falls apart.
We're really expected to believe that Catwoman decided to travel to Japan and rob these valuable jewels while in the company of Batman, the world's greatest detective. And she didn't realize the jewels would liquefy when out of deep water pressure? That shows a shocking lack of professionalism from one of the world's greatest thieves. Do a little research, Selina. And what was Deathman's deal? He's a former Gotham villain who now lives in Japan, and Batman says he's upgraded. Does this mean he's actually dead and coming back to life? We never get an answer for this, nor for why Deathman is doing the things he does. It just seems like he's playing the part of the Joker in the Dark Knight movie. Chaos for the sake of chaos. And Batman won't kill, but he's not against cruel and unusual punishment? Doesn't sticking a guy in a space capsule with no food and limited air seem like a bit much, even if the guy is immortal? And if that's how you deal with immortals, why hasn't Bruce ever done that to Ra's al Ghul?
And he didn't even try to stop Selina until after she stole the gems.
And the only thing he did was point out that the irreplaceable jewels had been destroyed in the process. He didn't think to stop her from partaking in these actions that would destroy part of Japan's heritage. I like the character of Hero. I thought him getting dumped by his girlfriend for not telling her he was a crime fighter and putting her in danger was pretty realistic. I also enjoyed the thought of a young man acting on the orders of a wiser, more experienced crime fighter. In fact, I liked it the first time I saw it, when it was Batman Beyond. And why is Mr. Unknown dressed like Zorro? Finally, a giant squid? Nobody noticed them turning the apartment below Misaki's into a watertight aquarium. Nobody all day saw the giant cephalopod swimming around. Really? I did enjoy the dialogue, like Selina not getting the appeal of hentai when she herself is walking around in a breast-tastic catsuit. That and the back-and-forth banter between Bruce and Selina shows off his serious side and her playfulness very well.
Grant Morrison has always been big on providing an engrossing story. He just never sticks around to fill in the details once he's done. I think that's why his style of writing has served him well on books like We 3 and his run on New X-Men. He didn't write the X-Men as heroes, he wrote them as a separate species from humanity, fighting against extinction. But when his writing doesn't work, as I've said many times before, is in superhero books. That's largely due to superhero books being based on explanations. We want to know how and why things are happening as they do. We're expecting it, but with Grant, those expectations never come to bear fruit. Like I said, I liked the art, and I enjoyed the story, even though it had huge plot holes. But I have to say, I don't really feel the need to pick up any more books in this series. I give Batman Inc. issues 1 and 2 3 out of 5 stars. If you've enjoyed Grant's Batman work, this continues that tradition, but if you're expecting more logic from any book you read, I'd say pass. And hoping you don't pass on the next episode, I'm the Last Angry Geek, and I'll see you here next time on Comic Book Issues.